Critical Role Recap Season 2, Episode 55. Last week, the Mighty Nein investigated the rift occurrences and the abyssal influence that seems to hold sway over the city, had a fight with these succubi, with the succubus and the incubus, chased them down through the well that was nearby, and discovered that there was some sort of cave system leading off from the well through a hole inside of the well itself. They went down and attempted to give chase to the abyssal creatures, and that's where we ended up last week's episode and picked up this week. So they're going through the tunnel, this like kind of cave system that they've found, and we have our first bout of combat almost immediately. Pretty much the entire episode is combat. There are actually 3 separate bouts of combat. Basically, the whole episode is spent in combat. The first bout of combat is with, I think, 3 quasits, I believe they're called, which are just like these little demon imp kind of things. They don't have very much health, and they don't seem to pose much of a threat. They take them out pretty easily. After that, they continue chasing, looking for the succubus and the incubus, and are basically led through farther deeper into the tunnel until eventually they end up in a part of the cavern where there is an abyssal rift. And now as they get into combat with the incubus and the succubus, another abyssal creature joins the fight, stepping through the rift, a large hooved winged beast, winged abyssal creature with gloves that make his melee attacks lightning damage, and he can use them from range apparently. Throughout these bouts of combat, various members of the Mighty Nein are being charmed by the incubus and the succubus and are forced to fight against their friends, which causes a lot of issues for them. Yasha in particular spends quite a long time charmed because of her low wisdom and just poor rolls. In general, the Mighty Nein they all just kind of rolled pretty poorly when they needed it throughout this entire episode, especially with the last bout of combat where they're fighting against an incubus, a succubus, and this large demon. So they do end up having to fight off Yasha for a while, and then they're trying to kill the succubus while they phase out of existence, sort of. They step into a different plane apparently, and they can't hit them. And so basically things go really rough, and things look really bad for them for a while there. Caleb goes down multiple times. He's just up and down, up and down, up and down. And Caduceus actually does end up dying completely. However, luckily he does so right at the end of combat, where they do finally manage to finish off all 3 of these abyssal demons, both the incubus, the succubus, and whatever the giant one is called, I'm not sure. They do manage to kill them all off, and earlier in the fight, Jester had dispelled the rift so that they couldn't escape back through it, and they had basically blocked off any exit to make sure that they could actually finish these guys off and not let them run away like they had done so the whole previous night before. In all of the combats that they had with Incubus and the Succubus, they would just keep going ethereal and running away. So the Mighty Nein do manage to take down all of their adversaries in combat, and then Jester uses her diamond to instantly resurrect Caduceus. So he comes right back up immediately. However, while he was down, he did have a vision from his goddess where she kind of just showed him some visions and reassured him that he's on the right path currently, essentially. Matt seemed to give him a little bit of direction through this vision as to where Caduceus could go to continue his specific story. I think he said something about heading eastward, but right now he's on the right path, and so he felt reassured in his purpose and basically, got brought back up from death and seemed none too worse for all of it. They used the only diamond that they had for resurrection, so they will need to replace that. And then they went ahead and investigated the corpses, and they found some sort of scroll with writing on it that they couldn't understand. And they also pulled out the heart of this creature and sawed his head off, but realized that his head was about 300 pounds. So they said, yeah, never mind, we'll leave the head and we'll just take the heart as proof of what we've done. And they also found the device that seemed to be causing the rifts, that was creating these portals. They were in the middle of trying to disarm it or destroy it. They wanted to bring it back as proof, but they didn't want to touch it themselves, and they didn't want it to have it go off and cause any issues. However, no one really had any spell slots open because they spent the entire night in combat and they just had gone through all of their resources. So basically they scooched the portal into their lead box and decided to bed down for the night. That was the end of the episode. They're just bedding down with this device, trying to get some spell slots back, and then we'll pick up next week with them returning to the officiate, whose name I can never remember, and presenting their case. But yeah, that was pretty much it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.